So through the most awful of circumstances, by the time you're a working musician playing in some pretty rough, tough places, you're street smart. You're ready.
Oh no, beyond street smart, you're stolen generation smart.
Innovation is often thrown around when we talk about music and the music industry. Innovation in distribution, in technology, in presentation. But rarely do we talk about innovation in the art itself. And our guest today on the Australian Music Vault is someone who has innovated a new art form within music here in Australia and around the world. Bart Willoughby, welcome.
Pleasure.
Let's start off like we do so many times with these sorts of conversations between mob. Who's your mob and where are you from?
It's complicated. It looks like it's the border. I'm sort of on the border. So I'm in between Northern Territory and South Australia and West Australia. Eucla, it's on the border of, that's where my mother was born. And my father is originally from Maulinga, and which is on the border of South Australia and Northern Territory. But he's actually from, there are three mob that come from Ayers Rock. And so the story even goes back something like 700 years, when Albert Namatjira mob, Papunya mob, chased off my people's mob, which is 700 years ago or 500 years before the white fellas turned up.
Do you still bear a grudge or?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah. So grudges looks like they last for thousands of years. Ask the Irish. But it looks like everything's calmed down. They created the Albert Namatjira, they created the artwork. My mob, you might say, created me. And the mob that are there now, I guess they'll shine one day.
You, like so many First Nations artists I speak to, either through the radio or by doing this, you were taken away from your family at Ceduna at the age of 3.
2.5.
2.5. Where did they take you?
From Ceduna, and then took me down to Adelaide. And back them days, you know, like 1962. Cars would have been a bit different.
Yeah, no air conditioning.
No air conditioning. They would have putted all the way down. Instead of 6 hours, 3 days. So it's really slow.
And how long were you there for?
Right up till I was 16 years old. 16.
And were you exposed to music much in that time? Were you exposed to?
Yeah, because I remember all the 60s tunes, still today.
What was the first tune that really stuck with you?
Oh, wow. The one that blew me away the most was by the Carpenters, about the universe.
Oh, yeah.
That just totally blew me away. That was like, it was like they were out there and they're coming back in, so to speak. Bit different to David Bowie, where you're shooting out and bang and you're out there.
That would have been before you realised that Karen Carpenter was a deadly drummer.
Yeah. Very, how would I put it? She's like a honeybird in the room.
Right, yes.
Which is where she learnt. So it's if you're a honeybird, you can go backwards, you can do circles, you can hover, you can do all these amazing tricks, but very light and gentle. Where if you're a water buffalo and you're out in the great wide open, and if I happen to see you, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor to describe the energy.
So, I mean, you're a multi-instrumentalist, but let's stick with drumming for a bit. How, in those sort of terms, how would you describe your style?
Well, I'm a water buffalo. If you look at me, I'm going to kill you.
So you're at the children's home till the age of 16, 17. But at the age of 14, you found yourself at the Centre for Aboriginal Studies in Music at the University of Adelaide. How did you end up there? Because it's certainly not a direct route.
It's destiny. It's just the same thing as how did I end up being taken away? It may look cool, but I think it's a way to explain things. Why? Well, you hear it from the horse's mouth, and I'll deliver the truth without a lie in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's organic. Yeah.
What did life look like there on a daily basis? I mean, it must just have been a totally different world to what you were used to for so long.
There is a lot of freedom, and one of them is you're allowed to think. Yeah, and if you've got an imagination, it will start to develop there. And then as you get older, it sort of becomes part of the magic that you have that a lot of people are missing within the music industry.
How would have you described yourself going into the centre as opposed to the way you came out?
A ball of energy that doesn't know how to shine yet.
And they put a bit of sheen on you?
No. Because I was allowed to think, I think you trigger things off when you're young. You don't know that you're doing it. It's just happening because of the situations.
Well, you may or may not have known that you had just this absolute curiosity for rhythm, like from an early age. Used to drive your science teachers a little bit insane by tapping away all the time.
Yeah. It took a year, but I did make him swear, because he was beautiful at the beginning.
He's a little bit irritable after a while.
Well, I just couldn't understand everything that I was getting taught because I was what's that word where you can't read and write?
Dyslexic?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was dyslexic and still am.
Yeah.
So you're going to ask me, well, how do you write the songs? Well, when I was young, I had a weird system. So if you looked at the words, you just, what's this scribbling? Well, that's how I write the words. It might have been a dumb version of paragraphics.
Yep.
But it was the only way that I could keep the memory of what I wanted to remember.
But it seems to me that once you had the vision and you had the song and the idea in your head, you were then able to articulate that very clearly to other people.
Not if everything's going forward.
Right.
You got to teach yourself how to, remember. That's where body memory pops up.
Yeah. You practice long and hard enough, it just becomes automatic after a while.
You trigger that off. Yeah.
Who taught you your first African rhythm as a kid?
Ben Yengi.
And who was that?
He was a bloke from Nigeria, well dressed, very good looking, very tall. I was about 14 when I first met him, and he was just tall, handsome African who he was so hip, but he could make his own drums, little drums, big drums, African drums. He made all these drums, and every week I'd come and I'd see a new drum and go, and start mucking around on it. And this happened naturally because it was just there. New drum. And he'd be writing away and he'd look up and he'd tell me the beat that I was doing, which I didn't know I was doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm learning drums too, so I know how to, A lot of people don't know how to, when you teach them drums, you got to lift it up. And so I was already doing that. And so it just happened naturally.
He saw something in you, though.
Yeah, he taught me, you don't need to work hard. You can use your fingers. Fingers. So when you see that South America, big fella, they're not using their whole hands because they would have bloody smashed the whole. That's how powerful their hands are.
Yeah.
It's their fingers. But you can't see it because they're just using their fingers. This is a high note. Da, da, da. You can't get that from hitting your hand. Boom, boom. It's from your fingers. And so what happens there is you can't clap no more.
Yep.
You know, you clap like this because you're too loud even if you're soft. If you can even go louder.
I mean, we'll talk about your career, but one thing, and it's coming through right now as we speak, is you're a teacher as well. So when you come across a student for the first time or a classroom of students, what is one of the first things you try to impart to them when it comes to music?
Well, first year, you're looking for all maybe the ones like you, yeah?
Yep.
And
something you see yourself in them.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yep.
Because you know the signs. It's like detecting gold, or gay radar. You know, it's yeah. You can find each other because you know their energy. Until you come across a cross-gender, that's different. I've never... that's one of the most amazing energy shifts I've ever experienced.
Right.
It's just, wow. Because that's what I deal in. I'm dealing with energy.
So when you find the energy, someone that you can see has got potential, someone that reminds you of yourself, what do you say to them? What do you tell them? Do you say keep doing what you're doing, or do you?
Yeah. When I was 16, I met Count Basie.
As you do.
Yeah. 16 years old, he turned up at the college, and he was there. And one of the first things, I think he heard one of my songs, and he just said, "Just keep doing what you do."
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me that, and how much that lifted me. Same thing as Chico Freeman and Billy Hart. Two amazing jazz musicians I met when I was about 19 years old. And so I was meeting all these amazing classical musicians, jazz musicians at the college.
So you're at the college. There's all these musical styles swirling around you. You're having a go at all of them, I'm assuming. How did you kind of zero in on reggae?
Oh, it's a mistake because I really love Deep Purple and I loved the album and just had to buy it and listen to it and they were moving fast and I liked that. I wanted to move fast, and so that just blew me away. And I loved the colours, loved the organ sound, just loved it.
They used to put it through a bunch of Marshall stacks, didn't they?
Yeah,
The organ sound.
yeah, just loved it. And then one day my music teacher goes, there's this new movie at the Odeum or something like that in Adelaide. Yeah, I'll come along. But he didn't tell me Bob Marley live was playing at the same time. And back in them days, I'd watch Kiss and all them bands. And as soon as Bob Marley came on, I just turn it over, wait 3 minutes, turn it back. Yeah. And so each time Bob Marley turned up, and waited to rock and roll all night, popped up. Susie Quattre. I was in love with Susie Quattre. I hated it when she fell in love with the bloody lead guitars.
Are you over it yet? Or?
Well, no.
No, I didn't think so. I can feel the pain.
Well, she's a whole lot of bass playing. I'm a drummer, so we love our bass players.
Married made in heaven then.
Well, we might argue, but deep down we love each other.
So did you come to a time where you just didn't turn Bob Marley off, and was that it for you?
Well, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
I thought, what the? Because ARIA used to pop up too. I was like, what the? But I'm also learning how to play, but I'm not into it yet.
Yeah.
I'm just learning how to play it.
Yeah.
You might as well say all this black stuff is leaking into the college, but I don't know it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got two types in Adelaide, you know? You got country and you got rock, you know?
So all these styles are seeping into you, you know, via a process of osmosis that you're just not even conscious of, you know, going around like a bowerbird, sort of, you know, collecting stuff here and there.
No, but I'm loving classic songs.
Yeah.
I really love Dean Martin and
The Rat Pack.
Yeah, the Rat Pack. I really love them. I really love them because when you sit back, you can hear what Frank's talking about, and so that's where the magic starts to pop up because now I'm in the boys' home and there's about 10 of us and we all just finished watching Combat. Right. And so we were laying down and I think it starts off with me continuing the story of what's happening with Combat. And so I start telling them what's happening afterwards and just making up stories.
Yeah.
And
writing the sequel.
Yeah, that's right. And they all fall asleep and I'm going, well, fuck. Well, I think I'll dream about this. And you do. But you're young and you're right at the peak of imagination.
Yeah.
Which means that no one's around and you're mucking around with this magic. Yeah? And the imagination is fully picturized. Mm-hmm. You can picture what you're saying, and that means it's getting close, so to speak, to becoming a storyteller.
I guess that wouldn't have been something that would have been encouraged at the boys' home.
No, you're too busy dodging a lot of frightening things.
Mm. It was at the college, though, that you met Ricky Harrison, Wesley Lovegrove, Freeman and John Miller. Mm. How did the four of you...
Well, me and Les started off first, the lead guitars.
Yeah, that's right. You started off by yourself and you were trying to do covers of someone.
Oh, no, it was John. He was in the He was in a band called Burt Toast.
Burnt toast.
Burt Toast. And they were black as anything, so they got the name right. But they've done covers of car songs. You know the cars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to form a band?
Well, Les, we were playing in the ensemble band where Auntie Lila, she was, I don't know, about 5'5", or she was quite small, but she played a big trombone, which was actually bigger than her. And she ended up becoming my bass player. Boom, 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 and at the dum da da dum da. Oh, yeah. And when there's about 12 kids playing clarinet, you can hear the notes slipping, because they were 9, 12, and 11, somewhere in there. And I'm about 14. I'm the oldest, but they playing really good. Out of time before I turn up. When I turn up, they're in time. Yeah? But a little boom, 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 boom. Da 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 da. Still remember da 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 da. And they hit. Notes are leaking out because they're all 9 and 12. They're not fully developed, but they're there. And this goes on for a year. And we're playing all the Salvation gigs. And they're getting bigger. Yeah. Not a few hundred, a couple of thousand.
But what age are you by the time you're playing to a couple of thousand people?
14. Yeah. Yeah.
When did you start thinking about composing your own material? How old were you then?
I think it was naturally there.
Just that imagination taking you forward.
Yeah, because I love being in the room with the acoustic guitar, and still today I'll keep the neighbours up because I got the wood skin.
So when did you start to come across reggae beats?
What happened was I'm getting all this other influence. So that music's over there, so it's a bit like
You're into all this other stuff, and that's over.
Yeah, like it's a bit like Jimi Hendrix. It's way over there. I can't understand it. Now I understand what's happening to Jimi Hendrix, but I couldn't understand it back in them days.
Yeah.
Now I understand he's jamming. There's a big difference.
So you're learning how to listen as much as anything else.
Yeah, and so I go to this night where Harder They Come's playing, and I'm way down in the front. The curtain opens up, Bob Marley live. Ah, shit. I couldn't get up and walk out because there's a few thousand people there, and I can't turn it off because it's not my TV. So I go, oh, fuck. So I sit back but after a couple of minutes, I go, what? Because I already know how to play piano and guitar and drums and bass and percussion. And I just go in and I'm seeing everything that I'm playing laid out mathematically in front of me, going, wow. And so I think right then and there, you just start to see the how beautiful it can get. Because this guy here is just blowing me away by it. Or not even complicated rhythms. It's just the way you place it. And that's the trick, I think, to where all the best bits are. Because you don't know where they are. Because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It can be right there. It's everywhere. where all the good bits are. And yet you can get it wrong. That's weird.
So
I
it was
think-
laid out for you on the big screen right in front of your nose.
Yeah.
And you
Like-
could see it for the first time. Laid out.
The magic of all these different instruments. Yeah. Like you're walking down the corridor of reggae-ness.
Right.
And just going...
Just picking it up and taking
Well,
what you want.
you already been down the hall of the 60-ness.
Yeah.
Chirp, 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 chirp. Down, 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 down. You know?
Yeah.
Clint's Clearwater. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's just music, which I love. I just love writing music as a music.
So we reached 1978 and you form an outfit called No Fixed Address.
Yep.
Who came up with the name?
Les, because we're all sleeping at different areas. John, you're sleeping over here. Bart, you're sleeping at Friend's Lounge. And I went, yeah, we are No Fix.
So what was life like for you in 78? Where were you? What were you doing?
It's a bliss because you're at your peak of learning how to put all this thing together, and it's exciting. You don't know what's going on. You don't even know that you're actually placing the music out right,
Yeah.
properly.
Yep.
You don't even know that your first songs are perfect. You don't know that. And you go, well, I thought I was following everybody. And you were. But what you didn't know is that your attitude was building up. And that's what was staining the music.
So you're trying to do what you're approximating is correct. You're not totally sure it is correct.
Well, yeah,
But
you most probably getting it wrong.
yeah.
But you don't know that.
But out of that comes a new sound as well.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
Yeah, you don't know that.
Yeah.
But the rest of the world will come to know that.
Yeah, but you don't know that. There's a lot of things you don't know.
Yeah. You've described writing We Have Survived as your first attempt to unnumb yourself. What do you mean by that?
I don't think you can get rid of it, but you can live with it.
So this is a feeling of numbness that came from being in the boys' home and away from your family?
Well, it starts off very cruelly by not being saved by your family or by your mother and father. So you don't feel that urgency from the parents of saving you. So it's like it's more frightening than that. It's like if you're not careful, you're dead.
Yep.
Simple as that.
And so by writing that song, you are trying to tell yourself something, tell the world something, or both?
Well, I'm actually the luckiest one, actually the only luckiest one that actually gets to go on the road and actually find not what I only lost, but answer and find life.
A lot of people left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you, through your work and through your career, you are doing it for them as well as for yourself, or the people that couldn't make it?
I'm doing what Elton John did for Lady Di when he sung Candle in the Wind. Yeah. And that's really hard to do. To not cry while you're singing about things that you love.
Yeah. You became a working band straight away. You started playing the Australian pub circuit.
Yeah.
What was it like for a group of young black musicians to be playing Australian pubs in the 70s and 80s?
Well, it teaches you it's not as scary as you thought. Before you left the mission, which a lot of black fellas didn't leave the mission because they were too scared to go out. But we actually did, and hey, it's pretty cool.
I remember you saying to me with an interview I did with you on radio one time, me assuming here in 2023/24, whenever it was, those pubs must have been full of rednecks and racists and stuff. But you came back and said, no, what they were actually doing, they were waiting to be entertained, and then they make up their mind about you.
It's curiosity and having a go, which actually tickles racism.
I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, but it actually tickles it, and sadly, you learn that in Salvation Boys Home. It's a technique how to survive, because the predators are everywhere. Yeah, the captain, all his followers, he's even got the boys involved, and they were hunters. And as soon as you walk in, if you're blonde hair, blue eye, you're gone. Yeah? You're finished. And sadly, there was a lot of boys, as soon as that door closed, they were rounded up. I would have been about 10. They were all taken to the room for the captain and all the carers and whatever other boys were involved to go and have fun whenever they want. And so as soon as I walked in, that cuteness or that thing that tickles racism saved me.
So through the most awful of circumstances, by the time you're a working musician playing in some pretty rough, tough places, you're street smart. You're ready.
Oh no, beyond street fight smart. You're stolen generation smart.
Right.
Which is you weren't taught everything, but yet you could see. You weren't taught nothing, but you could see everything. And if you don't have that magic imagination that protects you from that and makes you jerry to what's happening too. Wow. So you're sort of you sort of, that's when you become an intelligent pest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're mucking around with the magic of it, the chaos.
Having a bit of fun with it almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're touring around the country and you're earning respect from your contemporaries straight away. You know, they see something in you and in the band straight away. And so you end up playing places like the Roadhouse with 6,000 screaming fans with cold chisel.
It's an amazing building in the centre of Sydney University. Perfectly round. And I remember turning up there, and we were backing up cold chisel that night. And there was this big bloke, and we were turning up. And he goes, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, we're performing there." He goes, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, we are." He said, "No, you're fucking not. Get out." Oh. So it's the first time Sydney. And we're sitting over there, and cold chisel come over. Jimmy Barnes sees us sitting there. "Hey, what's going on, you guys?" Those guys, "Oh, that fellow won't let us." And Jimmy Barnes, he just lost it. He just went over there and sacked that fellow, protected us like a buzzard does. Yeah. And so it's a beginning of seeing people care.
Seeing a different side of humanity.
Yeah.
So to cut back to 1980, you end up pretty much starring in the film.
Yeah.
Wrong side of the road.
Yeah, it's weird.
Semi-biographical with you, No Fixed Address, and the other blackfellow band, Us Mob. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it's everything's gone from, it's life's changing, boom.
Quickly.
Completely. Yeah, completely. There's all these amazing things that are happening. But I'm practicing that hard that it takes me a week to practice. I practice the piano, guitar, bass, percussion, playing the didge. And I wouldn't play one instrument all day. I'd play one instrument a half a day and then relax. Then the next day, relax. I didn't force myself. I let the love take over. And then that's where you don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You just...
Just doing it.
And there'll be times where I'll be mucking around with a tune, even for hours, sometime a week, and then I chuck it away. So that's the beginning of gathering information.
But I think that's where the idea of being playful with it comes from, because if you're being playful, if you're in a sort of a playful sort of state of mind, then it doesn't matter if you chuck away a song.
Yeah.
Because another one will come on.
Yeah, it's a bit like modern jazz. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
It's at its finest, the fun,
Yeah.
the happiness, yeah.
So what was it like seeing yourself on film?
It's
And did it change
well,
much for you?
you don't expect things to change. You just thought that was it. That's your life. There's no way you're gonna get out. You're stuck. Yeah. Just grab your ticket. You don't know when you're gonna die, but grab your ticket anyway. But that's your life with all the other dead hearts, so to speak.
So by 1982, you're touring Australia again, but this time you're touring with Peter Tosh, an original member of the Wailers, someone who went on to forge his own amazing career. What were your impressions of him?
He sort of reminded me of them tough dudes out in Boys Home or Lockup, you know. Oh, he's one of them.
Someone who had, for want of a better term, street smarts about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then skip a few years, you're touring America with Midnight Oil on their Diesel Dust album, their breakthrough album in the US, and you come across a Native American artist and activist, John Trudell.
Well, he changed my whole life. He's another special man like Bob Marley. Like Bob Marley's completely different, but John Trudell is a force of the universe.
And you ended up drumming with him and Yothi Yindi at the same time.
Yeah.
But you recounted the story that you saw people spitting on him?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that circumstance?
Well, it questioned Peter Tosh Peter Gout to be relaxed. So he wasn't going, hey, you can't... He wasn't doing that. It's not... Nah, he won't be doing that. A little kid could pull out a gun. Nah. Yeah, nah. You let them spit.
Really?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Just because America is just another
Well,
place where things can escalate quickly.
Well, they had the crowd and look on the fucker say, hey, stop that. Then they'll start killing each other. So everybody just lets... That's why everybody smiles in America, because everybody's carrying guns. In fact, I remember one time, this is 89, I think it was a couple of weeks after working John Trudell, I approached him. I said, look, John Trudell, I've been working with you for a while. I'm in the bus. It's got 12 beds, 2 TVs, 2 kitchens. Maybe Quiltman and his wife can go on the bus and I'll come in the car with you and sit in the front and you just can tell me what I'm looking at. And there was complete silence. And John Trudell came up to me and he said, Bart, if you jump in this car and we drive around the corner and if the coppers see you, they'll pull us over and they'll grab you and they'll kill you. And how would we feel if that happened to you? And I went, oh, yeah, then I'll... And then I'm sitting back. A couple of years later, that Floyd thing happened. And also the weird thing was we come to Chicago and we got a big bus. And I'm checking one and the other, and we've got 2 fellas with shotguns protecting the bus. The company's got these 2 fellas to protect their bus while we're in Chicago. America was a bit chaotic, but yet mind-blowing through John Trudell.
So what did John Trudell give you? Like,
what happened to him was, it's very complicated. By the 70s, something bad happened to him. And that's when Jackson Browne approached him and said, I'll give you anything you want, I'll give you. And I think John must have said, now give me the riches. And Jackson Browne said, all right then. And so what Jackson Browne done was made him a guru to all the film stars in America and all the rock stars in America. And so what John Trudell does is he uses these tours, minor little tours he calls them, to go around to see all these pupils, yeah, which is Robert Redfern, the list just keeps going on. Chris Christopherson, it just keeps going on. And that's how he made his $10 billion business. But I didn't know about that. I was just blown away by Jesse Ed Davis, who writ John Trudell's music. And he's the guy who was the lead guitarist for Rod Stewart. And so there were 2 Indians that were famous back in the 60s. There was Jimi Hendrix and there's Jesse Ed Davis. Yeah. And I'm hanging out with one of them. And so I was just blown away by his music. Yeah. And it sort of changed my whole life. So by the time I went back to playing the Indie stuff, I still loved it, but I had to love it like I was a little kid. And I wasn't that anymore. I was a matured musician now. Just in the blink of an eye, just hanging out with John Trudell, I went from a little kid to an adult. And I went back to Indie as an adult. That's when my life changed musically, word-wise. Because now I'm hanging out with a guy who I thought I was by myself. I didn't think there was a
Other people
person
like you.
out there. And here he was, the most amazing poet on the planet.
So that's a little bit of an insight into your experience in the land of the free. Tell us a bit about your experience behind the Iron Curtain.
Whoa!
Segue for you?
Nah, it was confronting. Yeah, if we weren't there, they would have murdered them.
Murdered who?
Village people.
The village people?
Yeah, just people that are in the village.
Oh, right, okay. Right.
This is soldiers.
Which country is this?
Bulgaria.
Yep.
Hungary. Yugoslavia. And we caught the last plane out with the Australians. And they approached me and said, the pilot, oh, we're going to leave your drum set here. And I had a beautiful drum set. It was a Brady's drum set, which come from Perth, which are made out of a whole tree. It was amazing. They're also amazing overseas by their snare. All the famous drummers in the world want their snares because it's made out of pure trunk. Mm-hmm. They'll make a whole drum set about pure trunk. So my drum set was a pure trunk. And I had to leave that behind. But we were in the war zone. I said, I just want to get the fuck out of here.
So how did you end up to be in a war zone? I mean, how's that happen?
Well, we're going to Berlin. You got the east there and the west. Czechoslovakia.
So this is as the Iron Curtain is falling. Just before.
It's about to.
Yeah.
It's not falling yet. There's not even a scent in the air. Yeah? That happens when I get back to Australia. And then,
right.
What? Bang, everything.
So when you first started off, you're basically forging the way. You know, I mean, we had Aboriginal musicians and artists around at the time, but if you look at where you were back in the early 80s, late 70s, compared to where we are now, where there is a plethora of First Nation artists doing all sorts of great things. Well, what does that make you reflect on in terms of your journey?
Well, it just means that there's nothing in the horizon that you can relate to.
Right.
You have to start from scratch and create that. And so that's what that is.
Yep.
That's part of the dreaming, the dreams. Yeah. It starts somewhere.
Yeah. And it started with your imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you hadn't been in that boys' home, would you be here now?
Well, it's like saying if that thing that happened to you when you were young, when you were 2.5, would you be? Yeah, I wouldn't be here if that never happened. Because it's a trip. Yeah. Doesn't matter where it starts. It starts. But on that trip, you'll learn how to trigger your earth time off. Mm-hmm. You'll learn how to say to your daughter, I might not know where the beginning is. I might not know where the end is. And I definitely don't know where we lie, but I pretty well know everything else. And that's a big difference from not knowing nothing. Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't see humans anymore. I see ball of energy, and I see flexibility. And flexibility is everywhere. Yeah. It's everywhere. It's what makes up this whole universe. The flexibility. Like what Bruce Lee says, be like water. He's right. Because that's where you don't get to hate. You're always in love because of what you see. You'll never be confused. In fact, it's like it is finding what you're looking for. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned water and being like water. I spoke with Uncle Kutcha Edwards recently, and he recounted a poem to me that he wrote when he was 13 or something, in which he described himself and finding himself in the form of a drop within a waterfall.
Right.
So, that same sort of energy, that same sort of flexibility, that same sort of flow
He
relates to as well.
It's a bit like space and time and universe. It's there and then it's not.
Yeah.
My visions are carefully thought with poetry, but with a bit of music backing it up.
Yeah.
It's
about the message.
Yeah, it's about teaching yourself how to get it right with the words that you're saying without saying too much.
Fast forward to 93, and you are the first person to receive the inaugural Indigenous ARIA Australian Lifetime Achievement Award for outstanding contribution to Indigenous music.
They had to make one up.
They had to give you something.
Well, they had to make one up, and that's the beginning of is it a mistake? It could have been. But it now it's something more now.
Yeah, well, that's the start of something,
That's right.
That's kind of like the birth of an industry in a way.
In music, a mistake is a godsend. It leads to the most beautiful songs in the universe.
Yeah.
If you understand the mistakes.
When someone goes to an A Fixed Address gig or a Bart Willoughby solo gig or listen to one of your solo records or one of your band records, what do you want people to go away with?
I don't know, because I don't know what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still working that out as I keep building the temple or foundation.
So is that what's left for you in your career, which I hope goes for many, many more years, trying to work it out, or are you trying to get someplace?
Well, we have to, because we're going to we're gonna work out how to give hope, and one of them is no negative stuff, but the right stuff, like we're all gonna die. You go, nah, life will find a way. We are life. Life will find a way.
Well, if music is full of mistakes and your career is a mistake, it's a beautiful mistake. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks.